Cleave through weakness and the weak.
Let's go make some faces unrecognizable.
You know what they say. It ain't great unless it's got Rampat written on it.
Hi guys, Vadim's here, and let's break down this redesign. So let's start with the opening panels. The movement consists of plastic and wood slides and whooshes with delay. And here is also some mechanical clicks and cutlery that I've recorded to make it sound like an opening lock. And let's move to the fixed part of this one. So here I needed a shimmering texture, so I took a dagger scrape, reversed it, and added Valhalla shimmer with delay. So next time, if you'll need a shimmering texture, try to use Valhalla shimmer. To give the whole sound some depth and low frequencies, I've synthesized a simple bass. Another shimmering texture comes from the sample that I've dragged into Serum, in where I assigned the main envelope to the filter and distortion. So another thing that we need here is a riser. So I found the noise that I liked, assigned a rising LFO to the pitch, and the descending one to the filter. And with effects, nice and easy. And here's also I've added a hog call with delay and reverb. And the whole opening sequence sounds like this. Let's make an ambience from the white noise, where the filter opens when the new character appears. And let's add Valhalla Supermassive to give the sound space and width. So let's move to the transition effect between the characters. So it consists of bass drop, exhale that I've recorded, simple splashes, and synthesized descending noise. Let me quickly show you how I did this noise whoosh. So let's see how the selection of the character was made. I made two variations, when our teammate selects a character and when a player selects a character. And let's see the first variation. So here's a punch and a slap for a transient, tape removal and a reverse sword hit, whooshes and a riser, some of them were synthesized the way I showed you before. And a fireburst with bass for the low end. For the second variation I removed the tape and added a metal impact with a thunder. And finally we've come to the characters. Let me go layer by layer so I don't take too much of your time explaining every aspect of this. And let's start with the sword powering up. So here's a whoosh, subcannon impact, an electricity sample that I've recorded myself. In future I'll make a video how can you do it too. Powder burst, an opening umbrella, armor plate foley, and cassette opening. Additionally there is synthesized sound from noise, and an engine rev with a very small amount of a delay time to make it sound more robotic. Her body part movements are basically plastic and metal rattle with resonator by Kilohertz. And for her swords movement there's again some sword scrapes with reverb and delay. And additionally it comes with UI sound that I found and some whooshes. I just can't imagine how many cool sounds can be made with noise synthesizing and automating reverb filter in Serum. And the main layers of her phase entering is just some wind, thunder hit and weapon tails. And for the bass I wanted to make here an Inception-like Bram sound. Let me quickly show you how we can do it. So let's take a saw shape right here, bend it a bit, add unison, decrease it 1 octave, it should sound like this here, Add attack and the release. Add filter. I'll use the one here and increase the drive. And let's add some movement to the sound. So let's make a sawdown envelope. Assign it to the bend and the to cutoff filter. And let's add distortion. Assign saw up envelope to the drive and compressor in multiband mode. Make sure to cut off all the highs. And finally, let's add some reverb. That's it, nice and easy. To make a cool sound before explosion, try taking a sound with a quick attack like here. Copy and reverse it. And crossfade them that way so there's a little silence between them. An easy trick that can make your explosions more dramatic. And let's move on to the Mad Maggie. So here we have saturated chains with an engine rev, whooshes and sparks. For the screen breaking I obviously have some crashing glass, a punch, and metal impact with a fireburst. And here's also the only place where I did the panning when the ball bounces off screen. The final build-up whoosh is made of the reversed metal impacts and scrapes. And here I've synthesized some sounds for her ball too. Check this out. And the throwing sound. For the final pose I added a line growl and a saturated engine rev. Here is also a metal impact with an explosion. And I thought it would be cool to add a distorted guitar chord. And let's see how the Rampart was made. For her turret's activation I have metal movement and impacts with additional rattling sounds. On top of that I wanted something to emphasize her handles, so I added doors opening and closing and some latches. Here's also I wanted to make a robotic movement feeling, so added some servos and hydraulic. And now I'm going to show you how I did a machine gun. So here I have two samples of the gunshots that I've designed. It consists of an attached layer, base, and the saturated body of a shot. And if we're speaking of an actual game, we will need to make more variations of the gunshots. But for this video I think 2 samples would be enough. With our gunshots ready, I threw them into the sampler, made a copy of the second one and pitched it down a bit. To get more variations of our gunshots, I automated pitch offset with a constant moving LFO. So here's what I've got at this point. And to make it sound like a machine gun, I added an arpeggiator with a very high rate. Not perfect, but it will work for this video. And to the already made machine gun sound, I've added a jackhammer. The shells were made the same way as I showed you before, but without an arpeggiator. For the final pose I made a metallic impact with an automated mix of the reverb. And let's see the whole video without the music and voiceovers. And that's it guys for today's video, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions for future content or questions about the things that I've showed you before, please write them down in the comments. See you soon, bye bye.